Okay, this is the last game. You already know who it's against because I have gone 2-0 at a Pigeon locals, and that always means you fight Pigeon at the end. He's the final boss. So I don't know if I told you this, but I built this deck the morning of the tournament. I had zero
Oh
ideas
my.
of what I was gonna play, and I had originally told Pigeon that I wanted my Hanios back, my Hanio Memorias, because I was
Mhm.
thinking of just playing Atoms because I was very lazy and I didn't want to think of anything. But I don't have Trigger of Victory, so it's like, what's the point? Or Alice Adams. But I decided against it. I wanted to play like I was just thinking like, what's a cool deck? And so I literally looked at Hobby Otter Tiffany's deck from Life Burst podcast, the GP deck, and
Oh
I
yeah.
just stole the whole thing. And all I did was be like, I don't want to lose Umir Clear. I think Umir Clear is more important to this deck than a black assist. So I will play a red assist so I can fuel Colorful Ensemble. That was the entire crux of this deck. And
Honestly, I will tell you, I have a deck list on Dexus right now. It's a mono white build I was playing with that also stole the core from
Tiffany,
Tiffany's
yeah,
deck
it's
list.
like really strong core. So I was like, I didn't want to. You have to understand how no thinking I wanted to do while building this deck. So I literally just stole it. I didn't own 3 Lepises, so I like swapped out one of those, and I like swapped in a couple of Mews because I thought for this deck with Sin, it was gonna be a little bit more Signy based. So I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
Mew is probably better than Polaris, and obviously I'm not
Oh,
on Ultra Superheroes or
I
Burning
think
Curiosity. So
it's crazy. Like, I think right now in the meta that we're in, like cards like Mew that like don't depend on like the power of a Signy and just like the level is so good. Because like
yeah,
you don't have to worry about like even like with Typhon or something. It's like, oh, it's a level 2. I'll just put 2 cards underneath it and
yep.
keep going, or anything like that. But what is going on right now with
Yeah, so he gets a Lancelot with the Haniel, and I'm looking at my hand. I'm thinking to myself, I don't have any big Signy. Everything I have is going to die to Lancelot. I do want. I have these 2 Zalians. They're going to live through everything because they're
oh yeah.
immortal, right? Except for Smash or Wing Slash. So I kill there. I play the Lepus, and I'm thinking to myself, oh man, my Lepus dies to this Lancelot. And I think this is probably the thing that won me the game, not because of how strong of a play it was, but because of how tilted Pigeon got when I did this.
Oh no. Oh
I
no.
decide. I look at my hand of like Mew, double Haniel or something like it's not a good hand. And I'm thinking to myself, and like they have a Lancelot. I'm gonna like lose my Lepus. If I run into a burst, I lose a Zalyun, which means I'm gonna have an open board next turn,
Oh,
which I
I
don't
love this.
want.
I love this.
So then I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Yeah, I'll clear. And I hit a hand with 2 servants in it randomly, which is
Uh,
so big for me. That effectively
Honestly,
means I've done 2 extra damage this game that I wouldn't have done if I didn't do this.
maybe, I mean, I feel like there is such a pressure to like hunt for those early game servants.
Yeah,
Early clears, it's probably pretty good.
yeah,
Like
it's
that's
very good
a pretty
against it.
crazy move.
The scariest thing about the GP meta was
Mhm.
against Tama, you don't want to keep that many guards. You want to keep 1 for the first turn. But after that, you want all your guards to be in your deck, so after Umir clear, you draw them.
For sure.
But against Anj, which was the other, like, Tama was the second most popular LRIG, Anj was the most popular, you want to keep as many guards as possible in the early turns.
Yeah.
And so it makes mulliganing very annoying. And, in this game, you mulligan before you get to see what your opponent's playing. So both of the most popular decks required you to mulligan differently. And I don't
Oh,
know, I think Pigeon saw what I was playing, so I'm wondering why he decided to keep Double Servant. I guess he probably just drew one, but that hand is not what you want versus Tama, right? Like,
oh no.
it's so bad. I've definitely had my fair share of games. Like, I've had a game against, it wasn't Tama, but it was a clear deck, and 4 servants in hand. It's like, oh, cool, I lose. In my opening hand, like
Oh,
four servants and 1 Agona, I think, or something like that. It was so bad. Yeah. So I do
oh
get
man.
Wing Slash here, and he's in this really awful scenario because I think Haniel is the only card in my entire deck that dies to Romail. But he only could pick Romail and Haniel, and he decides on the Romail because Haniel
Yeah.
isn't really doing anything for him because 3 servants have already been revealed. The Romail's bad, the Haniel's bad. Everything's like going wrong basically for Pigeon here. Yeah, so the tempo swing that I had with the clear is like pretty insurmountable for Pigeon at this point.
For sure. It just feels like in this game specifically, like you hitting that clear and getting those like servants and everything, it's like I feel like you control it. Like
Yeah,
you have such a hold over everything, I feel like from this point forward.
I do. But this is Pigeon we're talking about.
That is
And
true.
if there's one player you cannot let your guard down against,
It's so true.
it's Pigeon. And this is a probably in the P12 pre-Dissona no color rules tournament meta game. I think this Remember deck is probably the best. It is very scary. That
Yeah,
said,
I think I would agree with that.
yeah, the main thing that is very good for me is that I'm on mono white, which means Crossfire does not burn me any enter, which
Oh, that's true.
greatly reduces its strength.
Here we go. Here we go.
Trying to decide what assist he wants to use to block the damage. Besides paying 1 to just kill the Zalian is probably best. Which is great for me, because as much as I am on mono white, I do have 2 Mews and 2 Typhons. So now I can like play them without having to worry about getting burnt off enter.
Oh, yeah.
Which is nice. I do just do the double attack. He guards the first one, which means all 4 guards have been revealed. And then, did he just take the second? Why did he guard the first? That's really interesting, actually. Why did he guard the second the first one?
Pigeon, hop in the call. We have a question.
Yeah. I guess it's probably just like the, I don't want to call it tilted, because I don't know if Pigeon actually gets tilted, but, you know, he's definitely annoyed by, like, that happening. Like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any guards anymore for the rest of the game. So it's basically, he's on a clock now to kill me. I don't have to do anything, because I'm Tama. Like, it's so strong for me. And I just put a Remember on the field, which is so good against Remember. Like, ironically, right?
Oh, 100%. That's all GP. If you're running Remember, cool. I'm gunning for those Remember Memorials.
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. It's so good.
It's kind of a non-bow with the Exia, right? Because you're like, it's not a 15k. But
yeah,
here it's a weird spot, because normally Remember doesn't care about Exias, because she can just blank them. But because I have a Memoria Remember on the field, that would be a big enter sync just to get rid of 1 Exia. But this also locks him out of his once per turn. So it's just like, again, it's a weird game. It doesn't really matter, because he's on no servants in deck.
And I'm assuming, well, I probably am not assuming, but he's definitely on USH as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't run. I don't think you'd ever run a red assist if you're not on USH.
Yeah.
Or Ensemble, I guess, or DVD. There's a lot of good pieces. Red really eats well just by being part of all 3 of the best pieces.
Oh, for sure.
From that cycle. I do think he's on Innocent Battle too. So I might have spoken too soon about the not seeing servants ever again thing. I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but I was on Innocent Battle during the GP in my Remember list, and I think I've settled on it actually being better than Super Helessa Saber for Remember for those
really?
Esper lists. Yeah, because you shuffle, like, Remember has the ability to cycle through her deck really quickly, like compared to like Monica or Sosh even, right? Like,
oh, for sure.
Those can't cycle through their decks, so you're not really able to just shuffle all your good cards into your deck and then redraw them. You just play Helesta and do the same thing. But Innocent Battle blocks the damage versus Esper. And if you're playing against some of the more aggressive decks and you need guards early, you get those guards early, you use those guards early, and then you Innocent Battle, shuffle them back into your deck, and you have more guards, right? It's surprisingly effective even against the matchups that don't really care about milling you out, which is super nice. Especially, like, you play Innocent Battle, you once per turn, and then you Ultra Superheroes, right? You just dug 8 cards deep after Innocent Battling and shuffling all your good cards back into your deck. And if you play your enter correctly, all of your bad cards should be in your enter still. So you're not your deck is only gas.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty sick.
I was gonna say, I was gonna mention, I wonder if there was a reason if he is on Innocent Battle, if he didn't do it earlier. I'm assuming maybe he just wanted to get all 4 guards in the trash before.
Yeah, I think he had the guard in hand during. He probably drew it during his turn 2.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he wanted to use it. Like, he wanted the Innocent Battle first to make the highest percentage of cards in his deck guards as possible. I forget if he does it main phase here. He is on Innocent Battle. The other huge upside of Innocent Battle is it's attack phase, right? But also, 1 enter versus 2 enter is like a really big deal. Like, compared to Helessa Saber specifically. Helessa Saber costing 2 is very rough in a meta that has a lot of these white bounce, and especially now with enter burn being very popular again.
Yeah, I think too, like you said, like with Remember, like digging in, I mean, I think if you're running Remember, and I mean, especially if you're running USH, I think that's very fair that like Innocent Battle just kind of works out. It weighs much more in your favor than something like Helesta would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know what I would play here. Definitely not Helesta, right? We're in a meta where you just aren't going to have that much enter. Again, it's weird. This meta doesn't exist. This is not a real meta. I know, like, he was experimenting with Go to the Top for a little bit, which obviously would have been completely useless in this matchup. Okay, yeah, so here I use an Over Pursuit to bounce the level 1 because I'm trying to bait him into blocking where my down to Exia is with his Exia. And he picks the Exia lane, so I just Colorful Wish, I give my Remember Assassin, I bounce the Exia. even though he did block my Exia lane, I still opened the other two, and that means I get to keep my Exia on board, which is like huge. It is so good for me that this just happened. It does mean that I had to give my Remember Assassin. I could have replaced it with something else, but the problem is I don't think I have a 15k that's a level 3, and Colorful Ensemble can only give Assassin to level 3s.
Yeah, it does feel kind of like a downside in some instances.
Yeah, like you can see there I had Typhon in hand, right?
Oh yeah. So here there is a smash. Ooh. Oh, nothing was up. Never mind. Nothing was so. Ooh, but nope.
I downed Remember, or I downed X, I guess to say. Yeah, so he's like a million cards in hand, but again, none of them are servants, so it's like continuing to be completely fine for me.
I'm assuming this might be the turn that we see the Innocent Battle.
I think so. I put him in a weird and annoying spot here because I have exactly 11 cards in deck, which, if you know anything about Innocent Battle versus USH, is a very good number to be at. This is quite literally the best number. He does OPG me here, and then use the Ultra Superheroes. Or, I guess Innocent Battle first, but yeah, so he decides to swap the Remember. Pretty smart.
Yeah, fair point, fair point.
But I don't, like, wishing here, it's rough. It forces me to use the Innocent Battle, I guess, but, like, it's still doesn't feel good. It can't feel good.
Yeah, I would assume that, let's see, he has 1 in cloth, or...
He has, I think, 1 in cloth, but I don't think I was close to milling him out. So this Innocent Battle is purely just to shuffle servants back.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, once you do that, well, no, I guess.
Yeah, because now he's going to use once per turn, so top deck 3.
Yeah, once a turn to check top 3.
So he's digging for guards. Keep in mind, I do still have Sin up, and I have 4 cloth. So
yeah,
he's in a really rough spot, because I have no reason to Sin this turn, and he only has 1 cloth left with no assists. It is like, he is just so far behind. So even if he finds the guards, he has to get, like, he basically needs to force me to Sin this turn.
Which you won't.
Yeah. I'm not going to. I would rather take the full 4 damage. But it wouldn't be 4 because his LRIG is frozen.
Man, Ensemble, it's so crazy.
Yeah, so crazy. Again, I've really been coming around to Wheatcross being much more about tempo than value, at least in the current meta.
Oh, for sure.
And, like, it's just such a crazy swing. Like, I can't stress this enough.
I don't know, man. It's like anytime the tempo, like, you're able to control that, it's just the game... It changes so massively. I've had games where with Sash, like, things are running way too fast, and I've just been like, all right, well, we're gonna slow it down, way down, and then I'm gonna just kind of outpace you just a little bit here.
So here I forget that he did blank me, so I don't get the I don't get the shadow. So the Lancelot actually gets to vanish something.
Ooh, and the Exia doesn't have any.
Yeah, so he does open 3. Whoa, spooky.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was a fun deck.
So after playing like this, is there anything that you feel like you would change in terms of this build? Or, like, is there any cards that you felt like wasn't doing enough, or would you feel like adding in the Phalaris at this point would be good? Like, I think, where are you kind of thinking about?
Yeah, I actually think I would trade out 1 Mew for a Phalaris, I think is where I am right now. I'm on 2 Mew, and the Mew only came up once across all of these games. And it didn't even come up for the reason it normally comes up. It wasn't removal, right? It was just to put a Yuki into my hand for the next turn. And that's one of the reasons, like, Mew is insane, right? Like,
yeah, grabbing Yukis with Mew kind of goes a long way.
It really does. I love Mew. I used to, when that Signy came out, I was like, this Signy sucks. This is so overcosted. No one's ever gonna play this. I think it has slowly creeped its way into, like, one of my favorite Signy to play, because it's like stuff like that, where, like, it's not just the fact that it's removal, it's the fact that it salvages some of the most powerful Signy in the game, right?
Oh, for sure. And I'm assuming that's probably how you'll feel about Lancelot coming in the future.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Become your favorite.
Yep. I think Lancelot's funny. I don't actually think that card's bad, but man. Anyway, I basically got the game closed up here, because I can just Sin. He's just showing me the guards so that I have to pay the full Sin. I can't misplay this.
Oh yeah.
I do make a misplay here though. If this is a Haniel burst, he can get something. He can get a Yuki to blank my Typhon.
Cute.
So I should have attacked with the Orochi first, but it didn't matter. He didn't find the Haniel into Yuki play. If this were GP, Pigeon finds that every time, right? Like, it happens every single time. But here I was saved. Yeah, so I got the prize back. There it is.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was a fun day. That was my first time ever winning locals, by the way. Because as a reminder, me and Pigeon started playing at the same time. So we've always gone to tournaments together, which As a result, means I've never won a locals because
That's fair, that's
yeah,
fair.
like I've won pre-releases, but I've never won like a local where people are actually playing like real decks. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, now I have to know what's the next piece what are you gonna work on next?
Tap down tap.
Let's go.